Alright guys, we need to have a real unfiltered conversation about the fighting game community right now. Because ever since Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls dropped, my comment section and the Steam user reviews have been locked in a full-blown civil war over one single thing, the $60 price tag. Like literally go on my first impressions video and you could see every other comment is talking about that $60 price tag. Now if you're a hardcore fighting game head, okay, dropping $60 or $70 on a new fighter is basically a tax you have to pay without even thinking. You download the game, go straight into training mode and start grinding. But for casual gamers, the reaction has been brutal. People are opening up the main menu, looking at what's immediately there and looking at their bank account and asking, okay, is this actually worth 60 bucks or just fighting game developers pulling a fast one on us? And look, okay, Marvel Tokon isn't the only game catching strays for this. We've seen it happen with a bunch of other FGC big hitters, like maybe like Mortal Kombat 1 or Invincible Versus and even that new Avatar Legends fighting game. And look, all these games are great in my opinion, and me as an FGC fan, I wouldn't hesitate, to buy the game. I want every single fighting game because I love fighting games. But a lot of players are just basically saying, okay, these are games that at their prices don't feel like they're given the full experience. It left a lot of casual players feeling like, the launch day content dried up faster than maybe like a bottle of water in the desert. Now, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys, okay? Like I said before, I live and breathe fighting games. I will happily spend 300 hours in the lab tweaking assist timing and just getting my skull crushed on rank ladder, so me personally, the 60 bucks is always worth it for me. But for a casual gamer who wants to just kick back on a Friday night and play some single player and smash buttons with friends on the couch, I completely get why people are heated. So today I just want to talk about both sides of this debate without holding anything back. Has Marvel Tokon exposed a massive pricing problem in the FGC, or just our casual fans expecting the wrong things from a competitive genre? Let's go talk about it. But if you guys don't know me by now, I'm Mr. Frosty Flames, but you can call me Mike. We do anything gaming news, reviews, playthroughs, etc., and we do it in a chill way. So if you enjoy that style of content, be sure to hit that sub button and join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. Anyways, let's get back to the video. I want to start on the good side. Let's start with the casual side of the court, because if we're being fair, their complaints aren't coming out of nowhere. Because when somebody drops maybe like $60 or $70 on a standard AAA game, whether it's an open world RPG, a massive action adventure, or just like a shooter, they expect, a giant sandbox. They expect dozens of hours of maybe cinematic story, endless side quests, secret unlockables, and just enough content to keep them busy until the next holiday season or until they get the next game. But then when somebody drops $60 on a new fighting game like Marvel Tokon or say Mortal Kombat 1 in the past, they look past the title screen and open up the main menu, and what do they see? Okay, they see maybe a short story mode where you're mostly just watching cutscenes and fight the AI, a couple times. You see an arcade mode where that's literally just like 8 fights in a row with just like a PNG image or like an ending at the end, you know what I mean? Like a character ending that's just like a slideshow. You see maybe like a smaller launch roster, a massive button that says, okay, go online and get obliterated by a 14-year-old in ranked, If you're looking to try to spend your weekends memorizing frame data and practicing quarter circle thumb movements until your thumb bleeds, that $60 entry fee feels rough. You finish online mode in just like one afternoon and then look at the screen and realize you basically paid all that money just to play like a 10-hour story mode game that you're already bored of. And all that I said right now basically encapsulates the casual feeling to buying a fighting game. But let's compare it to like then, like all the way back then, like maybe like the PS2 era, because here's why so many people get extra mad, because we used to get so much more content for less money back then. Take a trip down memory lane back to the PS2 era fighting games, specifically maybe like the 3D era of Mortal Kombat, because I could, talk about that on and on and on and on, because that's what my channel is about. Say like Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Deception, or Armageddon. For 50 bucks back in the day, Midway didn't just give you like a fighting game, they gave you like an entire amusement park. In Mortal Kombat Deception alone, you didn't get a fighting game, you got like conquest mode, like a full-blown open world RPG where you ran around the realms as Shujinko talking to NPCs, doing side quests and unlocking secrets. And then you also had chess combat, like an actual full game of chess where you fought for territory on a board. And then you have puzzle combat, basically like Super Puzzle Fighter with fatalities stuffed inside. And then you have the crypt as well, like a giant graveyard with hundreds of actual gameplay unlocks, outfits, and just secret characters, not microtransactions where you pay like $20 for like a different color, the color blue. And don't even get me started on Mortal Kombat Armageddon. That game literally had Mario Kart racing in a minigame called Motor Combat, and it even had a custom character creator. You could literally like build Shrek and just go one-on-one with maybe like Sub-Zero or something, because back then developers said, hey, even if you suck at fighting games, here is 80 hours of goofy single player fun, and today you pay like $60-$70 just to get like a tutorial mode and an arcade ladder and maybe like a 10-hour story mode and then basically online, and that's about it. And not to like discredit Marvel Tokon has mini games in it. It has single player content. You have the 5 story modes, which are about maybe like 60 to 90 minutes long each, and in all you'll probably be looking at maybe like 7 hours to beat all of them or something like that. I don't really think it's long. I'm in the middle of doing it. I'm gonna get my full review out later for Marvel Tokon, and then I'll have the specifics. But you also have these like little avatar mini games. You have some sort of like it's hard to describe. It's like a mode where you choose a team and then you have to go on like different nodes, and it's supposed to be like a replacement of like a tower mode for Tokon, but it just didn't really hit the same as the old PS2 arcade games that they would release, like Chess Combat, Motor Combat, and Puzzle Combat, and Conquest. Those were amazing. It feels like they were sort of tacked on, especially that avatar game mode in Marvel Tokon. I just really failed to see a huge point. And you see this with a lot of modern games. It's sort of like a pattern, because Tokon isn't just like an isolated case. It's basically the case that opened a lot of people's eyes. It's the latest game to land in the splash zone. Take Mortal Kombat 1 for example. It launched at full price, $70, but immediately got slammed for a repetitive invasions mode that felt like basically like a mobile game board combined with like aggressive microtransactions that have $12 holiday fatalities. It just sucked. And then you had Invincible Versus that delivered top tier gameplay. That game was fun, but it launched with like a thin roster and almost zero online depth, leaving like non-hardcore fans asking where their money went, and then that's basically it. And then their content is coming out at a snail's pace, so tons and tons of people are leaving the game. Same thing with Avatar Legends. It nailed the bending of physics and robot netcode, but with a tiny base roster and just like basic arcade ladders, casual fans cleared the content in like 3 hours, and then they're like, okay, what's next? I don't want to just grind online over and over and over again. So then what? They uninstall the game, and that just hurts the game, in the long run. But before people start rushing to the comments, let's flip this coin and talk about the FGC and its defense, because the hardcore competitive scene, including myself, sees this completely differently. For a dedicated fighting game head, $60 for a game like Marvel Tokon is an absolute bargain. And let me tell you why. Because fighting games aren't meant to be played once, beaten, and traded in at GameStop the next morning, because fighting games sort of have infinite replayability. A single $60 fighting game could easily yield, like 200, 500, or even 1,000 plus hours of game time over 2 or 3 years. You have the satisfaction of the skill ceiling. You aren't paying for 40 hours of a walking simulator cutscene. You're paying for a mechanical depth game, team synergies, matchup knowledge, and all the feeling of just actually getting better through practice. And basically you're paying for server upkeep, balance patches, cross-play infrastructure, and a living competitive community that stays active for years. From the FGC's perspective, comparing a fighting game's value to a single-player story game is like comparing a chessboard to a novel. You don't buy a chessboard and complain that it doesn't come with, 500 pages of lore. You buy it for the game itself. There's 2 different audiences for one price tag. So where does the real problem lie? The problem is that, modern fighting games are not really bad per se. It's that the publishers are trying to sell one product at a full AAA price to 2 completely different audiences who value completely different things. Competitive FGC players judge value by netcode stability, frame data, and like character balance and just high level mechanics, while casual gamers judge value by maybe like the roster size or cinematic story length or offline modes and fun unlockables. When a game like Marvel Tokon hyper focuses on tag mechanics and just like online balance while delivering a lightweight launch roster and a repetitive arcade mode, the lab heads or the FGC heads are thrilled because they have what they need to get going, to keep going. The gameplay is fun, the roster's decent, let's go. While the casual Marvel fans feel like they just got pickpocketed on launch day. But at the end of the day, as someone who loves this genre, I will always get my money's worth out of these games. But I'm not gonna sit here with a straight face and pretend like $60 or $70 isn't a steep price for someone who just wants to smash buttons on the couch with their friends. But now I want to hand over the mic to you guys. Who is in the right here? Do you think that $60 is a fair price for the endless competitive hours that fighting games provide? Or do the developers need to bring back these content-stacked PS2 era single-player modes if they're going to charge full AAA price on day one? Drop your thoughts down below and let's talk about it in the comments. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Mr. Frosty Flames out. Ciao.